Hi everybody, it's me Gemma, and this is my book haul for the month of July, and June. I have been fairly restrained, I think, since the start of lockdown. I haven't actually bought too many books, but the ones I have bought are mainly a lot of sequels, a lot of Sapphic books. So I wanted to talk about the ones that I have bought. And first of all, I picked up Vampires First Blood, The Vampire Ladies. It's volume 2. This contains all of the short vampire stories from before Bram Stoker's Dracula was published. So at the moment, Maven of the Eventide is doing a read-along of Carmilla, an annotated read-along, and this is the fuller version of Carmilla in this book. I know that there's one of the other books that has it, one of the sort of gothic horror books, which for some reason cuts out the prologue. I don't know why, but it also has, it is edited by James Grant Golden, and there is a volume 1 which is the Vampire Men, but I just haven't picked that one up because I'm not as interested as I am in Carmilla. I watched the web series Carmilla and really enjoyed it. I thoroughly recommend it. So then I decided to yeet myself back to 2012 and get Shatter Me by Tahira Mafi. I've heard so much about this series. The original series is like 3 books long, I believe, and then she has continued it. But this is about a girl called Juliet whose touch can kill, and she lives in a dystopian kind of world. There's a love triangle. I've heard that it's very enemies to lovers, which is one of my favourite things. So yeah, I will have a look. I did watch The Hunger Games for the first time in a long time the other day, and I was just consumed by the need to like watch early 2010s dystopian fiction. We all have our guilty pleasures. Then I have Kingdom of Souls by N.K. Jemisin. This is the third and final book in the Inheritance trilogy, and it is the chunkiest of the 3 so far. I have absolutely loved the Inheritance trilogy so far. I've read the first 2 books, and this one is following a character called Shahar and the god Sia. Sia has turned up in a few of the other storylines in these books, but this one I believe is sort of putting him to the forefront, and Shahar and Sia are sort of standing on opposite sides because she is of the ruling Anameri family who kept Sia and his family basically as slaves for thousands of years. So yeah, I'm going to be reading this fairly soon. I've actually been putting it off because I don't want the series to end. I've loved it that much. I was really surprised by how much I loved it, and it felt really fresh and new to me, which, as you'll know, can be hard to find in fantasy sometimes. So yeah, you'll see me finger gun or put my thumbs up all the time in this video, by the way, because I'm just awkward. So then another sequel, Crown of Wishes by Roshani Chokshi. This is the sequel to The Star-Touched Queen. The Star-Touched Queen I read this month already, really loved it, and this book follows the sister of the main character from the first book, and a boy, Vikram, who was mentioned in the first book, which I won't spoil how he was mentioned. But basically Gauri and Vikram are teaming up to fight in a tournament, the Tournament of Wishes. So I'm really going to be enjoying this. I think I really enjoyed the style of writing in the first book. I really do like that flowery romance writing if it's done for some reason in this setting. Like I love The Wrath and the Dawn, which felt kind of not similar, but the style felt similar. So that's going to be good. And there's also, I believe, a short story book as well Star Touched Stories, so I probably will pick that up, even though I'm not the most massive fan of short stories. I tend to only read short stories if it's by like John Connolly. I have his books of short stories, but other than that I'm not a mega fan. So I have then two sort of pan-African fantasy books. First one being Tomi Adeyemi's Children of Blood and Bone, and the main character, Zelia, her mother, was killed and magic was banished from the land, and now Zelia is going to try and get it back. And in this world, the more white hair you have, the stronger in magic you are. So as you can probably tell, Zelia is going to be really very strong magically. One of my friends, real life friends, read that quite recently and really liked it. So I am going to be picking that up pretty soon. I'm trying to avoid saying I'm looking forward to it, because I realised when I was doing the subtitles for one of my videos how often I say that. And I was like, oh no, just don't say it again. So we're trying. And then we have Daughters of Nuri by Renee K. Amayo. This one is about two girls who are separated at birth. They are twin goddesses, and they are going to have to fight for their survival and fight the man who sort of took the gods down. I think this is going to be brilliant, and I think the cover is stunning. I love the theme of like gods and things like that, especially when they're done just a bit differently. I think it's great. So I have the first two books in the Remnant Chronicles, Kiss of Deception and Heart of Betrayal, both by Mary E. Pearson. And these revolve around a princess who is meant to go into an arranged marriage, but she doesn't want to, so she runs away and she tries to live a sort of quiet life in a small village. Two guys show up, one of whom may be an assassin and the other of whom might be the jilted prince. So the interesting thing as well is these two are actually from different publishers. I think these have actually gone through different print runs. This is Henry Holt and this one's Square Fish. So I did have a little bit of trouble sourcing those two. I don't know why, but you might need to look for them secondhand if you're looking for them. So a sequel to another book I really enjoyed this month is Girls of Storm and Shadow by Natasha Nian, and this is the sequel to Girls of Paper and Fire. Girls of Paper and Fire follows Lei, who was kidnapped really to be a concubine to the demon king of her land, one of 8 girls from her case, the paper case, to do so. And in the first book, Lei is really fighting for her freedom. I don't want to spoil too much what happens, but this is a continuation on. It's a continuation on Lei's story and her relationship with Ren. It is another Sapphic female book. Very good YA. I thought the first one really did sort of deal with sensitive topics really well, and I believe that there were trigger warnings in the front of the first one. Yeah, please be aware that this book contains scenes of violence and self-harm and reference to sexual abuse and trauma recovery. I think that's great. I think more books should have that. It's not a spoiler, it's, you know, and if you don't have any triggers you need to read for, you don't need to read the trigger warnings. So last one, I also picked up the sequel to The Tiger's Daughter, which is The Phoenix Empress by Kay Arsenal Rivera. The first one followed our heroes Shefali and Oshizuka as they did their growing up. Their mothers were best friends. Shefali's mother is the head of a sort of steppes nomad Mongol clan called the Korin, and Oshizuka's family are the imperial family of Hokkara, which is kind of like China. And their mothers were friends. They had sort of done something really awesome and been really sort of, they were big heroes in that empire, and they really wanted their daughters to be friends. But of course Shefali and Suzuka are more than friends. It is a romance between Shefali and Shizuka as well, which I absolutely love. The first book mainly talked about Shefali and it was based on Shefali's point of view. I think this one is going to be more based on Shizuka's point of view. So I'm going to be reading this very soon. After putting off The Tiger's Daughter since probably last April, I want to say. I've picked that up pretty quickly, so yeah, I picked up not as many books as I thought I would in lockdown, but I think I've just been really sort of choosy about the books I have picked up. So I'm at the moment reading Kingsbane by Claire Legrand. I'm sticking to the TBR that I set before, so we'll see if I can keep up with that. But until then, have a good one. Take care. Bye.